Cortez, or AOC, she likes to be called Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, as she's known by a lot of people, and her Twitter handle as well, has become the member of Congress that the GOP loves to hate. And her landmark piece of legislation on the climate, the Green New Deal, has also come under a lot of criticism, even from some Democrats, for being, quote, too extreme and too far out there. Just last week, the Senate voted to block legislation to advance the Green New Deal, but supporters are not backing down without a fight. Instead, they're looking to break up the Green New Deal now into smaller parts in order to try and pass some parts of the legislation in a piecemeal fashion gradually over time. Joining me now to discuss all this, President of the Job Creators Network, Alfredo Ortiz. Alfredo is an outspoken critic of AOC. It's great to have you with us, Alfredo.
Thank you for having me back, John. I appreciate it.
And for our audience at home, earlier this year, you were the guy who put up those billboards all over Times Square blasting AOC for New York City losing the Amazon headquarters deal, right?
That's right. We had to call her out on that, 25,000 to up to 40,000 jobs, 150,000 per job. And we were talking about $4 to $6 billion in annual lost wages, hundreds of union jobs lost, economic activity downstream with, pizza owners, deli owners. I mean, you name it. Everybody who would service that headquarters, they lost their American dream and their opportunity to succeed. So, look, we had to call her out, and we were really happy we did, because we created something, kind of a real frenzy in terms of the conversation that was happening about socialism versus capitalism. We believe at Job Creators Network that socialism takes, capitalism creates.
Right. And, it's interesting when it would make AOC, I guess, the perfect person then, since she cost New York all those jobs, to implement the Green New Deal, right?
I mean, it's crazy. $93 trillion price tag, John. I mean, when you look at that vote, not a single Democrat senator voted for it. Even the sponsor, Markey himself, only voted present. He couldn't even vote for his own actual resolution. It was absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of funny. I think the president is almost right from his perspective. It's great for her to, be out there, because she's creating a true civil war amongst the Democrat Party.
Earlier today, Alfredo, Wayne Allen Root asked Bill O'Reilly what he thought about the president's comments on AOC. Here's O'Reilly. He says there's no real validity to fearing AOC. Take a listen.
Ocasio-Cortez doesn't have any real power. The power she derives is from the Twitter mob. And I think she'll be a two-term congressperson. Then she'll go to Hollywood and do a reality show, which is really what she wants to do anyway.
Now, I wouldn't push
funny.
back on Bill.
No, I was actually going to say I think Bill's probably onto something there. I do believe that she's just going to make it through one term, frankly. I think she's going to be challenged, in a primary. And, frankly, I think the person who probably is regretting a little bit of what they were wishing for, of getting more millennials, is actually Pelosi, because that civil war really is being created amongst the Democratic Party, and AOC is pulling that Democratic Party to the far left.
A case in point there, she recently went on Twitter and she told her nearly 3.8 million followers to essentially stop donating to the Democratic Campaign Congressional Committee. That's the DCC. That's a big group. They give a lot of money to some of the candidates. She wants them to donate directly to swing candidates instead, because she says the committee is protecting incumbent members of Congress. That's not going to win you a lot of favors, is it, in Washington?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know, her rule books are pretty interesting, but that's not a great way of winning a lot of friends in Congress of your own party. And again, I think Pelosi is probably regretting right now that big push of millennials that they've been looking for the past decade or so amongst the Democratic Party, because now they've got that, right? They've got that base that's in there. They've got folks like AOC that are, again, dragging that party to the left. And frankly, from a conservative standpoint, conservatives actually should be happy from that perspective, because it's just drawing such a great contrast between a party that represents jobs, freedom, liberty, and then the socialist. And we see what's happening in Venezuela, for example, where it was within the past decade one of the richest countries in the world, and now look where it is. And this is what AOC is embracing. I'm telling you, this country is not ready for socialism, nor will it ever be. And we salute the president because at the State of the Union, he drew that line in the sand that said we will never be a socialist country. And we couldn't agree more. And at Job Creators Network, we're going to keep on fighting that fight. I'll tell you that AOC and her supporters have been trying to quiet us, multiple different different ways, attacking me personally. And I'm here to tell them and the supporters, I am here to stay just as long and just as much as we have to do to make sure we win this fight against socialism.
Well, we know she's not going to go away quietly, and her critics shouldn't go away quietly either. It's going to be interesting. We got about another year left in their first term, so she'll be back out on the campaign trail here very soon. We'll see what happens if anybody was going to primary her.
I'm sure, and we will be as well. We'll be following her around.
All right, Alfredo, look forward to having you back.
John.
Thanks so much for coming in.